I've watched buyers in Seattle lose the same house 3, 4, sometimes 5 times before they figure out what exactly they're doing wrong. And in almost every single case, it comes down to the same 3 mistakes. I'm going to tell you what the winning strategy actually looks like from the other side. Stay tuned. Seattle's market isn't uniformly competitive. Some price ranges, some neighborhoods even, and other property types mean that the competition is intense and it can move fast. The entry-level single-family market, in particular, regularly sees multiple offers on properties that are in good condition, and especially if they're priced really well. And buyers who've done their research on Zillow and Redfin, but actually haven't been through a competitive offer process in Seattle, they're often very surprised. Not because they didn't prepare, because they prepared for probably the wrong things. Here's what I see happen repeatedly. Number 1, writing at list price because it feels right. In a balanced market, list price is a starting point for negotiation. In competitive Seattle inventory at the entry and mid-range price points, list price can often be the floor, not necessarily the ceiling. Sellers and their listing agents price to create the competition, not to tell you what the home is objectively worth. So a home listed at $750,000 might be priced at that $750K mark specifically because the sellers expect to receive offers at $775,000 to maybe $800,000. The list price is an opening bid. I've watched buyers lose a $750,000 home to an offer that came in at $782,000. The buyer who lost told me afterwards, "I just didn't know I needed to go that high to get it." They were writing a number that felt reasonable, that felt like they were offering what the home was worth in their opinion, but they weren't competing with the market's opinion of what the home was actually worth. They were competing with another buyer who understood the pricing strategy that the seller was using. Before you write an offer, ask your agent specifically what the last 3 comparable properties in the neighborhood closed for. Not what they were listed at, but what they actually sold and closed for. That number is what tells you where the market is judging the price right now. Number 2, contingencies that signal doubt. Contingencies exist to protect buyers. That's their purpose in the contract. And I'm not telling you to give them up at all. But if you expect to be going up against other multiple offers, how you structure your contingencies sends a signal to the seller's side about your confidence level. And sellers can weigh those signals when they're choosing between offers. A buyer who includes an inspection contingency with no parameters, meaning that they can walk away for any reason at all during that inspection contingency, looks like a buyer who might actually walk away for any reason. And that's a real risk the seller is managing when they're evaluating your offer against others. The approach that can change this is a pre-inspection. Before you write your offer, you pay for an inspector to walk the property, which costs typically around $400 to $600, and get your information before the offers are reviewed. You still get everything you need to make an informed decision, but now you're writing an offer with much shorter or more specific contingency language because you already know what you're buying. The seller sees a buyer who did their homework in this instance, and that changes the risk profile of your offer without actually increasing your exposure to something that might go wrong. If you've already lost an offer in Seattle, I want to know what happened. Was it the price? Was it your contingency structure, timing, something else? Do you even know what it was? Maybe you don't because the seller didn't tell you. Drop it in the comments below, and I share the patterns I'm seeing back to this community, and your experience might help someone else avoid the same exact outcome. Number 3, agent selection as an afterthought. This is honestly the one that's hardest to talk about because it's uncomfortable. In a multiple offer situation, the listing agent is not just evaluating your offer, they're evaluating your offer and your agent who's behind that offer. And in a close comparison between 2 offers, the agent's reputation and track record can be a deciding factor if that seller's agent knows that. An agent who's new to the market, who the listing agent has never heard of, who submits paperwork or a contract with incomplete fields or incorrect fields, that becomes a risk to them and their seller. Not because the buyer is a bad buyer, but because the seller's agent can't fully assess whether that offer will actually close and if it will do so cleanly. An agent who's known in the market, who has a track record of smooth closes, who calls the seller's agent ahead of the offer deadline to introduce themselves and communicates indicates there's buyer situation, that's a completely different experience for the agent on the other side and their seller. I'm not telling you to pick an agent based on who they're friends with. I'm telling you that your agent's presence and professionalism, especially in this market, is definitely part of your offer. It's a variable that most buyers never even think about until they've lost a few offers. So let me pull these three things together as a practical picture. The buyers I've worked with who have consistently win offers in competitive Seattle situations tend to have a few different things in common. They know where the market is before they write, not just the list price, but actual closed comps. They've done a pre-inspection on any home they're serious about before there's an offer deadline, and they understand that their agent's first call when they're interested in a property isn't to them. It's actually to the seller's agent, so that agent knows there's a serious, informed buyer on the other side of the offer. None of this is crazy. It's all just preparation. And in a market where half the buyers are competing without it, preparation is a competitive advantage that you can use. If you're actively looking right now and you're not sure whether your current approach is competitive, drop a comment or reach out directly. I can usually tell within a 10-minute conversation whether your strategy is going to work in the current market. If you're 90 days out and want to be ready before you start writing offers, now you know what to think about. If you're 30 days out and actively looking at homes, audit your approach against these three before your next offer. If you've already lost 2 or 3 in a row, reach out before you lose another one. I'd love to help. And if you're thinking about buying in Seattle, or you keep losing offers, or you want to avoid starting that cycle, I help buyers compete in this market every single day, and my contact information is below. You can book a call with me for free, and there's no obligation. Before your next offer, I'd watch the video in this channel about what to look for before writing on any Seattle property. That covers the due diligence side. This video that you just watched covers the offer strategy side. Together, they give you a full picture, and that one is in the playlist below.